A team that's been able to overcome their inconsistencies all season long was unable to do so today. Browns lose 29-12 in Denver to the Broncos. Your post-game Locked On Browns starts now.
You are Locked On Browns, your daily Cleveland Browns podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends, your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound LGB on the LOB, the Locked On Browns podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Your host, Jeff Lloyd, and I appreciate everybody who makes Locked On Browns their first listen every single day. The everyday crowd keeps getting bigger and bigger, and I appreciate you all so much. And Locked On Browns can always be found, it's always available, wherever you get your podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Browns were losers today, 29-12 in Denver. The team that has been inconsistent and not been able to ever win the turnover margin. All those things came up big today. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, it started slow, but then really picked up with the field goal, of course, to close out the first half, got the game to 14-6. The Denver Browns shut them down 3 and out. DTR comes out that first drive of the second half. And if there's questions about we think DTR is going to get somewhere, and there's a player with inside that young man, I got to be honest, I think there is. There's a quarterback there. He's a really smart player, knows how to use his legs. He's going to need a lot more red zone reps. The drive obviously led to the Harrison Bryant touchdown. Should have been an Amari Cooper 2-point conversion. Again, you got to catch the football. I know the relationship isn't there between these guys and Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and I get that. But you guys got to bail out your rookie quarterback. I mean, there's balls hitting you in the hands. They may not be ideal. They could be low. They could be outside. You got to catch the football for your guy. Dorian obviously ended up leaving the game. And I saw a lot of tweets about whether or not the hit was clean. Look, you can't hit a quarterback there in the NFL nowadays. If you come within an inch, not even an inch, 6 inches of a quarterback's head, you're going to get flagged, and rightfully so. So, I don't want to hear that. I thought it was whether it was a clean hit or not, it doesn't matter. You cannot hit a quarterback there, and Baron Browning could have been costly, obviously. I do, for the Stefanski haters, look, I do have some questions, obviously. Coach is not going anywhere. The lack of the run game early, especially after once they finally decided to start running the ball, it was successful. I get all that. I truly do. Again, did I like the play call? The thing, and this is what I'm going to say, is the thing with reverses is they've got to come within tune of what you're doing and hopefully things that you're being successful with. Running a reverse is not supposed to bail you out of something. And guess what? When Elijah Moore was in the backfield, and Elijah Moore has not been in the backfield now for a while, and we talked about it as a failed experiment, it's just not working. You put Elijah Moore in the backfield, all of a sudden now eyes are on you. What are you doing? Why is Elijah Moore in the backfield? We haven't seen Elijah Moore in the backfield on the film. So obviously the attention grows right away. Now, if you're a smart football player and you say Elijah Moore's in the backfield and Pierre Strong's lined up as a wide receiver, teams are seeing that play coming. And the execution was poor. Obviously, Pierre Strong, you got to catch that ball. But you can't use the reverse to bail you out of stuff that's not working. You use the reverse because teams are selling out because what you're doing is beating the brakes off of them. And that's why you run a reverse, because you know what? They know we're going left. You know what? And we've gone left to success, all that and a million other things. That's why you run the reverse, because you run the same exact thing that you've been running that's been working. The defense is going to oversell to take that away. And then that's why you run the reverse. It's not a Hail Mary. It's not a save me play. The play call itself was bad. It should have been executed better. It shouldn't have been a fumble. That was a 17-12 game when PJ Walker went in that game. You want to call a play there? How about you call a quarterback draw? Because PJ Walker is a mobile quarterback. That is something that would have caught them off guard. So for DTR, there is a player in there. And I'm upset and I feel bad for the kid that he suffered the concussion, obviously left the game. This week was supposed to be a really cool experience for him, obviously, as the team was going to go to LA. DTR spent 5 years in Westwood as a member of the UCLA Bruins. Now, his availability, nobody has any idea. We're going to get to more injuries here later in the game. His availability for Sunday certainly is going to be a question. It's going to bring up a whole other, bunch of, obviously, questions about who would be quarterback if DTR can't go. It's way too early for that. Cedric Tillman and DTR. Now, I've been calling up for this, and I thought there would probably be an opportunity for Cedric Tillman and DTR to get some things done together. The two of them have obviously had a long, long relationship together. You got to see Cedric Tillman's best game in the NFL. David Njoku, we just can't have the drops. Contributing, yes. The drops, killers. Elijah Moore, guilty as well. Amari Cooper, guilty as well. Obviously not the best days for those guys. Kareem, a couple of tough runs. The offensive line, it wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. Certainly the Browns could have withstood and overcome, some of the issues that was going on with the pass rush and the fact that, a lot of guys were getting there. And again, we talk about it all the time. Browns have issues with teams that run the odd man front. Just because they got good for 2 weeks in a row against Baltimore and Pittsburgh didn't mean that this trend changed. It just means that they hit a streak. I'm sure Denver took some things from both the Baltimore film and took some things from the Pittsburgh film and incorporated it. So look, the offense, it was 17-12 when DTR went out. Honestly, the score probably should have been, 17-14 at that point. It was a whole different ball game. DTR goes out, and obviously you run that reverse play, and then all of a sudden, here you go, it's 24-12. And with PJ Walker, you knew the game was over at that point in time. Not the best day. I don't want to hear the fire Stefanski or anything about Coach Stefanski. I mean, come on, guys. The guy's 7-4 with 3 different quarterbacks. Most likely going to have a fourth different quarterback playing in some capacity this week. Just save it all out, man. Put the pitchforks away. Put the flaming torches away. Coach Kevin Stefanski isn't going anywhere. He's doing an incredible job. And some of the play calling may not be ideal. And the ones of you that calling for his heads have no idea what you're even talking about. You may have played ball. You may think you know ball, but you obviously don't, because you just don't. We're going to keep it moving here. We're going to get to the defensive side of the ball here, and that was a little bit of troublesome, or a whole different type of troublesome. We're going to get to all that. Keep it moving here. Your latest Locked On Browns with your host, Jeff Lloyd. But first, a word from the good folks over at LinkedIn. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to have as many top-tier candidates as possible to interview. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. The key, your smaller business, you got to hit home runs. You got to make sure you get somebody in there that can be a difference maker for your small business. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, what makes it the best place to hire. Hiring is easy when you have that many qualified candidates. It's so easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time or resources to hire. Thankfully, with LinkedIn, the process intuitive, quick, and easy. They even just launched a feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process even easier and quicker. Post your job for free at LinkedIn.com/LockedOnNFL. That's LinkedIn.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. As we close out the year 2023, obviously we just went through Thanksgiving. We got Christmas, New Year's Eve coming here. It's a really, really time of year that's filled with a lot of anxiety. Certainly some somberness. You go to these big holidays, and sadly, there's people who just aren't going to be there anymore. And it's always kind of a constant reminder. This time of year can be a lot, and it's natural to feel some sadness or anxiety about it. But adding something new and positive to your life can counteract some of those feelings. Therapy can be a bright spot amid all of the stress and change, something to look forward to, something to make you feel grounded, and to give you the tools to manage everything that you have got going on. For me, talking to other people and talking to people that I don't necessarily know so well and having them listen to me and my issues, it allows me to be a better version of myself. It's hard to put my burden on people who I need to be the strong one for. That's why therapy is great. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's done entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist. And if it doesn't work out, you can switch a therapist at any time. Find your bright spot this season with BetterHelp. Jeff Lloyd, your latest Locked On Browns. Cleveland Browns losers 29-12 today in Denver. Just not their day. Obviously, the game started with 14-0 lead for the Denver Broncos. Defensively, the Broncos and their success as of late, and I told you, it's not Russell Wilson. It's not. Russell Wilson, I think, threw for 130-something yards today. Yeah, you can blow all the smoke you want up Russell Wilson's ASS. I don't want to hear it. It ain't Russell Wilson. They're playing good defense. They're running the ball really well. They took advantage, and they found a sweet spot right over the center. And Browns, obviously, some of those wide nine looks, they were late to adjust. And the Browns just kept Broncos just kept pounding it. It got better as the game went on. And the adjustments certainly were there from the first quarter into the second quarter, the third quarter, even sometimes in the fourth quarter. But the Browns defense it's not the defense today that we've become the expectation. You had one sack from Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who had a highly, highly active day. JOK was crazy, crazy impressive today with all he could do. And all the plays he was able to make for his team today. Certainly a bright spot, which was a dull, dull day for this team today. Myles Garrett, we don't know the extent of it. Obviously, something going on with his left wrist. 2 tackles today. Did have a big, big play. Obviously, a pass breakup at one point, which was really, really impressive. Obviously, as he just rushed the quarterback and just basically, Mutombo'd the ball back into Russell Wilson's lap. The loss of Denzel Ward certainly wasn't easy to overcome today. Greg Newsome, the first pass interference early in the game, which led to the Broncos' first touchdown, I probably didn't agree with. But if you go by the letter of the law and where your head is supposed to be as a cornerback within the league, Greg Newsome obviously knows better. Greg actually shaped up to have a pretty nice day for himself today. Other than that, did give up completion later to Cam Sutton. Martin Emerson was dinged up at times today, but Jerry Jeudy was not a factor today. Martin Emerson had a nice day for himself. Juan Thornhill, highly active today. Sione Takitaki was physical as well. But look, Jim Schwartz is a great defensive coordinator. Jim Schwartz is not God. Jim Schwartz is not going to solve every issue that a team has. And even if he is quick to adjust, sometimes the other guys on the other side of the ball are just better. And that was the case today. Denver executed better. I wouldn't say that their players were better. They just executed better, and they played harder. And this is a team now that's won 5 games straight for the Denver Broncos, and you can kind of see why. It's not a great product. It's not aesthetically pleasing, but they've kind of found a way within their own skin to go out there and kind of cause a little damage and have some success. The defense isn't going to play like this every week. They're not. This defense is too good, too talented. And there were times that, they made plays that obviously, were huge, huge factors. Obviously that 3 and out to begin the second half, which led to what should have been a 14-14 game. This team has just got to work harder, and just get a little bit more consistent. And some of it does come from the fact that, they are on the field more than they should be. But the run game is something they can control. That's not a factor of the offense. That's not a factor of the fact that the offense is getting off the field too quickly. It's not the factor of that maybe every week it's a different quarterback playing for the Browns. The run game's got to be the commitment to this, because if the Browns can take away or at least neutralize any opposing team's defense, that puts the Browns in the part where they excel. They excel in pass rush. They excel in coverage. And that's got to be the onus and the key to this. You know, you're going to get Los Angeles next week. They had a really, really solid day today, put up a ton of points, put up a ton of yards. Matthew Stafford's looking as healthy as he ever has in the last year and a half down in LA. They've got to get better at stopping the run. They got to get consistent. If it means you're going to play, you know, five-man fronts, go ahead and do it. It's just something that this team has to get better at, because the Browns offense is a station-to-station offense. There is no big play to it. So they can't be on the field very long because the offense needs the time on the field, because that's the way it works right now. They don't have that big play ability. So it's going to be 10-play drives. It's going to be 11-play drives. And it's hard for the offense to do that. And look, this is on them. Obviously, they've got to find a way to make those drives go early, because you can't have your defense get gassed. You can't go 3 and out on the first drive of the game, then have your defense, you know, take one to the chin for 10, 11 plays, you know, like they did. But then they came back on the second drive. Defense got it done. Offense did nothing with it. Then boom, here we go again. So it's not, you know, my issue isn't, you know, certainly not with the defense. The defense is a top shelf defense. And even, you know, when the news broke with Deshaun Watson, you heard Jim Schwartz say, I don't know how much more these guys can do. And it's fair. It truly is. It's a fair statement. But they are the calling card of this team right now. They are the key to the success for the Cleveland Browns right now. So they have to just, you know, I don't want to say clean it up, but I mean, you just have to get better at stopping the run for the Cleveland Browns defense. It's the only thing that can hold back this team in any game at any time. It'll get better. It will. I know Jim Schwartz will put a ton of effort into it this week, and you know, we'll see where this team is at. You know, a lot of guys banged up. The list just keeps growing and growing and growing. And it's really, really difficult, you know, to overcome. And, you know, we'll see where they are totally injury wise, and, you know, we'll see as the days come here as we bring the build up, you know, to Los Angeles Rams week, you know, another 4:00 game next Sunday. But I would say today's game, certainly disappointing. You know, especially when, you know, all that seemed to go wrong in the fact that it could have been 14-14, or the fact that it was 17-12, and you handed the Broncos another golden opportunity, which turned into making the game insurmountable for the Browns today. We're going to get to segment 3 here. Appreciate everybody for being along for this ride. Jeff Lloyd, your latest Locked On Browns. PrizePicks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America with the easiest, most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks. You pick more than or less than on a 2-6 player stat projections, and you can watch the winnings roll in. You want to play alongside some of PrizePicks' favorite players like rapper Meek Mill and comedian Andrew Schultz. You can now find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries from some of the biggest names in the PrizePicks community each week. PrizePicks even offers a reboot policy so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For football and basketball games, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second, that player is rebooted. PrizePicks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. Jeff Lloyd, your latest Locked On Browns. Post-game edition. Browns come up short 29-12 today in Denver against Broncos. This was the game in the second half that was 14-12 with about 7 minutes to go in the third quarter. Broncos come back 17-12. Then DTR goes out. Massive shot suffered by the young quarterback. You run one play. You get to the fourth quarter. You call for an ill-advised reverse that certainly was not executed correctly. And the next thing you know, it's 24-12, 27-12. PJ Walker not understanding where he is because he hasn't been practicing, and 29-12, and the game closes out on that note. This team is banged up. I think we were all excited about getting to see DTR a little bit. I know I was, and I gotta say I think there were some flashes today. I really think there's a player inside that body. These are conversations that we'll certainly have in the weeks, months, years to come. But there is a player inside that body. Number 17 is a quarterback. Make no questions about that. But a concussion for DTR, obviously bleeding from the mouth. So anybody who has their questions about whether or not it was a penalty or not, concussion, bleeding from the mouth, yeah, it was a penalty. Amari Cooper left the game. Good news appears to be that the x-rays on the ribs were negative. And Mr. Locke, when you lead with your head into somebody's ribs, yeah, it's a cheap shot. That's why Elijah Moore was telling you it was a cheap shot. If you're going to play like your buddy Kareem Jackson, whatever, that's fine. You finally, NFL will find you. Don't worry about that. Myles Garrett, we know it's something with left lower arm, wrist area, something of that nature. We'll see how that one, pans out. This team is dinged up. It's hurt, banged up. And we can use these clever phrases like next man up, each and every week, but, eventually the breaks beat the boys, and that certainly happened here today. This team will remain out west as, they're going to pack up, the pity party after this loss here in Denver. They're going to go to LA. Not a terrible idea late November to avoid, going back to Cleveland, Ohio, get some sun, get some relaxation, hopefully, get a little rest, get refreshed, and obviously reloaded as you get ready to face the Rams on Sunday out in LA. It's a building the Browns have not had the best history in, certainly. So we'll see where this team is at. I mean, could it be Joe Flacco, the Browns, starting their fourth different quarterback Sunday in Los Angeles? I mean, imagine telling yourself that one in August or September, that we'd get to November and Joe Flacco is going to be starting games for this team. Absolutely nuts and crazy in its face to believe all that. It's just, these are the tough ones because, and part of it is because you've been winning some games undermanned, and you get into this one and just to kind of get a flat effort kind of all around. And look, everybody, and I will disagree with play calling. I know everybody, are you on Kevin Stefanski's payroll? Coach Stefanski, I'd love to be on the payroll. So if you want to drop some ducats this way, that's fine. Did I question whether or not the ball was ran enough early in the game? Rookie quarterback, first road start. Yeah, I'll question that. Then once DTR kind of got popping a little bit, he kind of saw what Coach Stefanski's thought process was, if this is going to be my guy, I got to give him it all. I got to give him the workload. I need him to go out there and do X, Y, and Z. And for the most part, the kid was doing it. Again, it was 7 drops last week. I saw at least a minimum of 5 this week. You can't have your guys dropping 12 balls in 2 games. You ain't going to beat many people with that way in the NFL. Certainly, obviously, the injury. And DTR ends up leaving the game, of course. And, PJ Walker, PJ Walker went 2-1 for the Cleveland Browns. We'll take it. But I've seen enough of PJ Walker to know I've seen too much. I don't need to see anymore. I'm good. So if they want to bring Joe Flacco up to the active roster, whatever happens with PJ Walker, I don't honestly care at this point. I don't want to see PJ Walker take another down for this team this year. I know what Joe Flacco has been. I think I have an idea what maybe's left. I would certainly want to see DTR continue this run here with this team. I'm good on the PJ Walker stuff. If it's not DTR, if it's Joe Flacco, if it's not Joe Flacco, it better be DTR going down the stretch here. But the Browns come up short, 29-12. And it was honestly a solid effort. The fact that they got it to 14-6 at halftime, impressive. The fact that they were able to come out of the halftime break, get a 3 and out, and then get it to 14-12. Should have been 14-14. And even 17-12, you were still in that game. You want to run it with PJ Walker. You want to run with Jerome Ford. The reverse, look, you got to run what's executed. I mean, you got to execute what's run, rather. So that's on players. Did I like the play call? No, it was terrible. Did it change the game? No. So, I mean, you all get y'all panties in a bunch over nothing. It was a bad play call. It was also poorly executed, but it certainly did make the difference in why the Browns lost 29-12. Certainly making the difference in the fact that the Browns could not stop the Denver Broncos from running the ball. We're going to get to a bunch here this week. We'll break down the rest of this game, start getting ready and amped up here, and we'll get our Browns glasses on, our, Browns absolute excited glasses on for Sunday against the Rams. Team just didn't have it today. 7-4, still a playoff team within the AFC. I am Jeff Lloyd, your host here at Locked On Browns. You can find me every day, and I appreciate everybody who is every day here with me. I appreciate everybody that makes Locked On Browns their first listen every single day. For your second listen, I highly suggest you check out the Locked On Sports Today. We are running podcast 24/7. We're the only people in the game doing that. So everything from the Locked On Podcast Network just running on loop 24/7. So make sure you're checking all that out. And of course, Locked On Browns is always available, always free, wherever you get your podcasts. This has been your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound, LGB on the LOB. Let's go, Browns.